So this was phase 2 of our housing, which is condos, affordable condos.
Okay.
Part of a program that we have with the state of New Jersey to reduce the cost, so we have home ownership.
Okay.
So this has 8 units in it. Some are duplex at the top. This building has been here forever. The gentleman has been upkeeping it. And then what's happening as we're developing the community, instead of having big box stores, we're trying to get the boutique experience. Like this is opening up as a juice bar.
Oh, wow.
You know, fresh juices, fresh protein shakes. And that's the kind of things that we want in the community. You can just walk and get these things. You don't have to go to a big box store to purchase them, but you can have it right in your community. So we're excited about that. And that's the kind of, we want more cafes and coffee houses and little bistros in our community. That's unique and also gives a lot of opportunity for small to mid-sized businesses, entrepreneurs to open up businesses.
Okay. So talk a little bit about the funding. This is a nonprofit organization?
Yeah, so this is a nonprofit organization, and we have 3 types of funding. We have funding which are foundations, where we get monies from our foundations, our partners, to support us in the work that we're doing. We get sponsorships for some of our programs like the festival. A lot of our housing that we developed, because of the funding, we couldn't just say it was only for artists, but we tried to attract artists.
Right.
The challenge is that when you're dealing with different funding sources, there's some check boxes you have to check.
Right.
Sometimes artists can't check all the boxes.
Right.
Oh.
You know, so you have to we have to now give the business of, you know, showing how to get your paperwork together.
Right.
How do you can keep your, you know, because artists don't necessarily make a check every week. They may make a check based upon the work that they're doing. Yeah. And how do you record that so that you can be part of the housing that's happening and other things that's happening.
Right.
This is the other set of condos that was built. Across the street, the masjid, that was abandoned for a long time. It was a soup kitchen, and it became abandoned for years.
Okay.
And they were up the street on High Street, but they were able to purchase this building and bring the masjid. I think it's cool having an eclectic community like this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Down here in Lincoln Park.
Right.
Right here, directly across the street, was an old gas station and just an abandoned property.
Okay.
And they cleaned it up, remediated it, and created beautiful housing there.
That's awesome.
What we're looking at now is Lincoln Park as a nonprofit works with the developers. So we're trying to figure out what kind of retail that we can have at the bottom. You know, and you know, we don't mind having a barber shop or something like that, but we want to have things that we need, like a Krausers.
Right.
So, you know, because we don't have a supermarket in this area that you can walk to.
Okay.
So you want to have, they would have farm to table or something that you can just get something to eat.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, or when you need to go purchase something. This right here is Great Oaks Charter School. This building was abandoned. It was a trucking place for a long time. There was a lot of ill-gotten gain happening out of there. We purchased it, then resold it.
There was a what there?
Ill-gotten gain. You know,
Things you don't want to happen.
Okay.
Things that you don't want to
A
happen.
lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans.
You went to that fast. I was
I've
like,
never heard that.
Ill-gotten gain.
okay.
Ill-gotten gain. You know, prostitution, drug dealing, all of that.
Okay.
Ill-gotten
I'm
gain.
glad I clarified that.
Yeah. So this right here is a gym, and this is a gym that's for the school. And the nice thing about the partnership is that we're creating a basketball league with the youth because they're going to allow us to use the gym. So to keep the youth, the young guys engaged.
Yes.
We partner with the city of Newark. They have coaches, and now we have a gym that we could use and do some sports, like we want to do flag football in the park with the guys. So it's nice when the community has assets that can be intertwined with the things and the needs of the community.
Very important.
I actually, when I was growing up, I liked having masjids or the brothers in the community because it also stabilized what's happening on your corners.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because they're not interested. They want women are to be respected, children are to be respected.
Right.
You know, and so it's nice when you have an eclectic group of everything happening that's about positivity.
I agree.
Yeah.
So are the people who live in these neighborhoods, are they mostly from Newark, or would you say what's the breakdown?
I think that the people in this community are a little bit everywhere. Some from Newark, who have been here from the inception. So if you think of Fort Greene, Red Hook, you think of Jersey City, this is one of those kind of communities because it's still downtown, 5 minutes from the airport, 10 minutes from Penn Station. And what happens is that it's affordable enough for so if you get a 2-bedroom apartment with 17-foot ceilings and all that, and you're only paying $1,500. If you're in Manhattan, you may be paying $3,000 for it. So it's attractive for folks to move here that they can, it's affordable. Right. This was a project that we were engaged with. We have artists living here and families living here. Okay. This used to be just an abandoned lot.
Really? So there's nothing here, just desolate.
It was desolate, and now there's 68 units of housing there.
And it looks great.
Yeah, and the way that
I've lived there myself.
I know.
Yeah, and the way that they developed it is that they have artists. They have a room in there if you need to do rehearsals. You know, so you have all those different things available to make it convenient.
So is it only available for the people who live here, or
mostly for the people here. But we always engage because they have a community room. So I always can call them and say, hey, we need to have a community meeting. Can we use the community room? Sure. This this is a gallery. It's called Cement Gallery. It was called City Without Walls Gallery. But this is a mural of Ango Shaki from Color Girls who considered suicide when the rainbow was enough. I forget how to pronounce it. Entezaki, yes. And so this is a mural that was done on her behalf because this was one of her last stops she came to before she passed away about a year or so ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and gave a talk.
One thing I always see when I walk through Newark is Newark strong. That's everywhere in the city.
Yeah, because we're a resilient city and a resilient people. You know, despite all the challenges, Newarkers have a lot of grit and resiliency. You know, and fight.
Yeah, definitely. That's one reason why I wanted to highlight Newark, because it reminds me of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get the highlights that New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, DC get, but you know, we have our own dynamic.
And what's nice is that this is such an old community. Right. Like this was an old carriage house that they turned into an apartment building.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the bones of the community is amazing. Newark is the 3rd oldest city in the United States.
Wow.
You know, so it's exciting. And so we're excited to be able to really help work at legacy building and keeping the culture and the history and the contributions of Black and brown folks intact here. Yes. You know, because the city's going to change, gentrification is happening, and you know, you want some of that to happen, but you want it to be inclusive, that everybody benefits from it. Right. So that we're the stewards of that. You know, that's why we're excited to have Fred on board, because he's not afraid to shout. You know, and our organization was started as a social justice organization, so it was all about, you know, taking it to the streets.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Grassroots efforts.
And everything that we were doing. And when you get the groundswell from the people, because culture bubbles from the bottom to the top. Right. And when you get that, then you have a high level of social capital. So sometimes when you don't have currency, but you have the social capital will help you to maneuver through the things that you need to get through.
Yeah, it helps people feel accepted, welcome,
engaged.
gives them a place where they feel like they belong. Absolutely.
Yeah. Not forgotten.
Yeah, and you feel more likely to want to respect your city, respect what, where you are.
So we discovered that this alley actually belongs to the city of Newark. We didn't know it was a city street. All we know is that it was strangling us in the community with all of the ill-gotten gain. Okay. So what we did is the city has agreed to repave it. PSG has agreed to put new lighting. We're going to put a fence going across here. But our attempt was first to create a mural called Black Girl's Dream. It's really nice. And we're coming back to touch it up and put our signage back up and everything around this particular mural. So the mural went all the way down, and it's called Black Girl's Dreams, and it was different head wraps. A black one with poetry by Queen Moore, who was a poet, and this was her vision. So this right here that we're going to put back up, but this is when she went to Haiti, and it's called Polytab. She took pictures when she was in Haiti. That's 24 hours a piece, them jumping rope, and this is just murals going down here. So the goal is the city's going to repave this whole thing for us, and then put more. We'll fix all the murals up so it'll be a walkway with benches for the community to come down back and forth.
it's nice to see what happens when you put something like this out there,
Yeah.
but then it gives people like an opportunity to express themselves in ways that maybe they didn't
Absolutely,
because
because you can see the Queen, this is her poem, I'm a woman, I'm a fire, towering backbone woman. And then you see someone who I guess who was sleeping back here, talk about pacing my feet back and forth, walking to the end of bare feet, talking about how they're homeless and what their experience is. So it's almost a conversation between two mediums.
Right. So how did you get involved in Lincoln Park?
So how did
What's
I
your
get
story?
My story. So I got involved in Lincoln Park in 1998.
Oh wow.
So I was part of a class called Leadership Newark.
So you're an OG.
I'm an OG.
Okay.
And so I actually started on the legislative side. I worked for a legislator.
Okay.
And when they created this organization, it was out of the need to create a sustainable community. So our past executive director was on a board with Van Jones.
Oh, wow.
And they were talking about how do you reduce your carbon footprint? How do you make sustainable communities?
Right.
And so we said, let's make us a Black sustainable community here in Lincoln Park.
Wow.
And so we created Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District. The Coast Cultural is because this was the coast going back to maybe Branford Place, where all the jazz clubs were in Newark from the 30s to the 50s.
Okay.
So this was a mecca for just music.
Right.
And so we took all those ingredients, and I was working for a legislator at the time, and I thought it was important that when all this development is happening in Newark, that we don't erase what happened in Lincoln Park. How do we build upon that?
Wow.
And so we created Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District. In 2006, I came over as deputy director. I've been working since 1998, but I came over as deputy director and been here ever since in many roles, helping to stabilize the community. Community economic development and community work doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's a ministry.
It's a ministry.
It's definitely a ministry, you know. So this is the staging for our shipping container housing. We're the first one in New Jersey, first place in New Jersey. It took us a while because of all the statutes around housing codes. So we had to push through that. It's a Black developer, Cerie Morris, that's doing it. And it's the first one that's happening here in Lincoln Park. So that's the foundation of it across the street. And it's going to be 3 families. And last but not least, this is our community farm. This is the back of the community farm here. As you can see, a cistern there where they water the plants at. Whole Foods is one of our sponsors. This was an abandoned land that was where people were dumping stuff on the community. We took over the land and they created the community farm.
Right.
So you can see the eggplants growing, tomatoes. They've been harvesting for a while. The tomatoes, the eggplants, the tomatoes, collard greens, squash.
So where does the food go?
So each community member owns a plot. And so people grow what they want to grow.
Got it, okay.
They take it home. So people grow what they think is farm to table for them. So this mural here is called, it was done in 2008. It's called How Sweet the Sound. It was done by the late Jerry Gant. Jerry Station, all the artwork in front of Penn Station and all these places, he did this, but he did that mural with Verizon called How Sweet the Sound. So thank you for coming out on this tour of Lincoln Park. We love our community.
Yes.
And as you can see, as you saw all the different people you met and places you stopped at, this is a community that's connected. It's about love, it's about us working together, it's about us celebrating us and taking care of us.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Thank you for having us and thank you for the tour.
And as you spoke about it earlier, all these urban cities mirror each other.
They do.
We have a commonality, it's the people.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And thank you, Fred Sullivan, Reverend Fred Sullivan, our board member who thought it not robbery to include Lincoln Park as part of this whole experience. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. We have to talk about these gems.
That's right.
This is a gem in Newark.
Yeah.